The political world was shaken today as former U.S. President Donald Trump received what many legal experts are calling deeply troubling news from the international legal arena. While Trump has long portrayed himself as untouchable by global institutions, recent developments suggest that even the most powerful political figures may not be immune from international scrutiny. This moment marks a dramatic escalation in the growing list of legal and political challenges surrounding the former president, and it could have far-reaching consequences not only for Trump himself, but for America's standing on the world stage. For years, international courts and legal bodies have largely stayed on the sidelines when it came to U.S. presidents, citing jurisdictional limits and political realities. However, that long-standing hesitation appears to be weakening. According to legal observers, recent actions and statements from international judicial authorities indicate a willingness to examine allegations tied to decisions made during Trump's time in office, particularly those involving foreign policy military actions and potential violations of international law. While no final judgment has been issued, the message is clear. The era of automatic immunity may be coming to an end. At the heart of this development is the International Criminal Court and related international legal mechanisms, which have increasingly asserted their authority in cases involving powerful nations. Though the United States is not a formal member of the ICC, international law experts note that jurisdiction can still arise under certain conditions, especially when alleged actions involve other member states or take place on foreign soil. This legal reality has placed Trump in an uncomfortable spotlight, one he has spent years trying to avoid. Trump's response, as expected, was swift and defiant. Through statements released by allies and supporters, the former president dismissed the international court's actions as politically motivated, illegitimate, and part of what he calls a global conspiracy against him. He framed the development as an attack not just on himself, but on American sovereignty. This rhetoric mirrors Trump's past responses to domestic investigations, where he has consistently portrayed legal accountability as persecution rather than due process. However, legal analysts point out that dismissing international law is far easier rhetorically than practically. Even without immediate enforcement power, international court actions can carry serious consequences. They can limit travel, damage diplomatic relationships, and isolate political figures on the global stage. For a man who prides himself on strength, dominance, and deal-making, being treated as a potential subject of international legal concern represents a severe blow to Trump's carefully crafted image. International reaction has been notably restrained but telling. Several world leaders have avoided direct commentary, choosing instead to emphasize the importance of international law and accountability. Behind the scenes, diplomats are reportedly discussing the implications of the court's actions, particularly how they might affect future engagement with Trump should he attempt a political comeback. The unspoken question is whether a former U.S. president under international legal scrutiny can realistically command respect or trust abroad. This development also reignites a long-running debate within the United States about accountability and the rule of law. Trump-esque critics argue that this moment underscores what they see as a pattern of behavior that has finally drawn global attention. They claim it validates concerns that were dismissed or minimized during his presidency. Supporters, on the other hand, insist this is proof that international institutions are biased against nationalist leaders who challenge the global status quo. What makes this moment particularly significant is its timing. Trump is already facing multiple legal battles at home, ranging from criminal indictments to civil judgments. The addition of international legal pressure compounds those challenges and threatens to overwhelm his political narrative. Instead of projecting strength and inevitability, Trump now finds himself reacting to forces beyond his control, a position he has historically struggled to manage. Legal scholars emphasize that international court processes move slowly, often taking years to resolve. This means the story is far from over. However, the mere existence of ongoing international legal scrutiny is enough to reshape public perception. It introduces uncertainty, raises questions about legitimacy, and provides ammunition to political opponents who argue that Trump's conduct has brought lasting damage to America's reputation. There is also the broader implication for future U.S. leaders. As the news continues to unfold, one thing is certain. This is not a minor legal footnote. It is a potentially defining moment in Donald Trump's post-presidential life. Whether it results in formal charges, symbolic condemnation, or long-term political consequences, the impact is already being felt. The narrative of invincibility that Trump has cultivated for decades is showing visible cracks. In the end, this development forces a sobering question. Can any individual, no matter how powerful, truly stand above the law in an increasingly interconnected world? For Donald Trump, the answer may soon come not from a U.S. courtroom, but from the judgment of the international community itself. And that, for a man who once claimed unmatched global influence, may be the most devastating news of all.